And it looks like, oh, almost raised back. Here comes Jessica, and here comes, well, we're waiting. So, welcome to episode 13.
New high score.
And welcome to More Than Dice. My name is Gonzo, and I will be hosting this. And once everybody is back, we will talk about everything and who everybody is. And there she is. So today's episode is one that Seth and I had actually been talking about for a while.
Yep.
And we've actually been trying to figure out how to do this.
Yep.
And there's going to be some serious discussions, serious and silly. So we're going to get to some interesting conversations. But before we do that, we have to do our tradition on More Than Dice, carried back from the tradition of Painting with Minot John. And then just talking about what we're going to drink and eat today before we get started. So let's go with Lynn, since we ended with her. We'll start. What are you eating and drinking today, Lynn?
I have Starbucks, and earlier all I've had so far was White Castle cheeseburgers.
And what are you working on today?
Commission stuff.
Oh, can you not tell us?
Commissions. There's just a lot of different stuff, and I'm just kind of bouncing around a bit. There's Kingdom Death, the Micromaniacs models, Space Marine Army, and Deep Wars Army. So all kinds of good stuff.
Okay. And next to that, Mr. Seth standing up, showing him his awesome shirt. But if he stands back just a little bit more, we can see why he's standing up. Seth, why are you standing up? Oh, look at that. Look at them legs. Damn.
Oh, that's amazing.
Seth wearing his awesome kilt. Seth, what are you drinking today and eating?
I'm sorry, More Than Dice folks. I have failed you. My wife and I got home in time that I have already had dinner, so we will not have a visit from the amazing Alex tonight.
What?
I'm gonna see if I can get her just to come in and say hi, since she has discovered that being internet famous means very little, but I think she still likes it. So, tonight I am having a Warlock.
Ooh.
Yeah. Pumpkin stout. It's the right kind of weather. It's about 32 degrees here. I climbed a mountain. I have earned my Warlock.
All right. Let's go with Miss Jessica. What are you drinking and eating today?
I already ate dinner because it's like 8 o'clock my time. And I have a salted caramel, or however you pronounce it, wherever you live, Imperial Stout.
That actually sounds awesome. Who's it made by?
I did Blackwater. Southern Tier. So I did one of those make your own 6-pack where you just grab random things that you don't know if you'll like or not, so you don't end up with a 6-pack of something you don't like and then you have to drink it because that's how you were raised. So
I'm writing that down. All right, let's go with Miss Liz. Liz, what are you drinking and eating today?
Well, I already ate. I had some broccoli casserole and pasta, which sounds kind of weird now that I say it out loud, but it was good. And I'm drinking a Blue Moon because that's what was in the refrigerator.
And Miss Kathy, what are you drinking and eating tonight?
This girl?
Yes, said Miss Kathy.
So, I'm not used to being addressed as Miss Kathy.
Miss Kathy gets you nasty.
I am eating cough drops, and I am drinking tea with honey and lemon.
Whoa.
You may be able to guess why. I was at ReaperCon last weekend.
Aww.
Are you feeling better?
Oh, hell yeah. So,
all right.
No,
let's see. Next to that is Miss Angelina. Angelina, what are you drinking and eating tonight?
Well, I'm drinking. It's called Mist Twist, which is kind of like Sierra Mist and 7-Up. I don't know. It's a soda. And I'm actually eating a salad right now. Super boring, I know.
Bad. Cat, please don't let me down. Cat, come on, don't let me down.
Super pumped about this.
Oh.
I am eating nothing, and I am drinking water out of a Quick Trip cup.
Oh my gosh!
Wow. It's getting
Living on the
progressively
edge.
more and more crazy.
Yeah.
Watch out, people! It's a crazy night on More Than Dice.
Oh, this place is lit.
Yeah.
Background. I actually live in a cardboard box.
Lit AF. Lit AF.
Okay, so me, since we ran out of Maker's Mark, moment of silence. All right, and I decided to bring out some good stuff because this is the first time we've had so many people on the podcast. I decided to bring out my Fonseca Port 10-year. It's a tawny port. It's only about 20% alcohol. And I'm going to be munching on some salted caramel dark chocolate toffee.
Ooh, that sounds
baby.
so good.
We're coming over.
Yeah,
We just want some of that.
right?
So other than that, so everybody raise a glass. I'm glad everybody made it back safe and sound. I'm glad everybody's here. Cheers.
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 Oh my god, this tastes just like salted caramel.
Oh
I
my
wrote
God,
that down, so
That's amazing.
It has Himalayan pink sea salt and notes of caramelized sugar.
Send me a picture of the label so I can look for it.
Alright, I'll send it over to you.
Yeah.
Like having a mouthful of caramel. So good. Like, this is why you're
So-
fat.
with everything that's going on, we have actually our Twitch did not go through, chat did not go through on this channel, so I'm going to fix that real quick. While we're doing that, Seth, would you like to do me a favor and talk about our Patreon real quick?
Hey everybody, Side Hustle Seth here to sell you a little stuff called the Patron. Today you got special offers. All right, don't stop me. For $1, just $1, you can get an action figure from More Than Dice. It's little, it's square, it's got numbers on some sides, little dots things, and then writing on the top. It's amazing. You'd like it. More than that, the pre-ramble. By the way, all the information I'm about to give you is wrong because I never, ever, ever remember.
He's actually the $2. And there's the
Great.
dice.
Look, you ask me to do this all the time, and all I got to say is I'm never going to get it right.
I know, that's the point.
For $3, what you get is
Nothing.
my used paint cup. For $7, I'll give you a guide on how to be on fleek.
Oh
my
God.
At the $5 level, you get a bunch of videos, some of which come out on time and some of which are made by me. So stuff happens. If you pay at the $15 level, don't we send you some of like John's beard? I don't know. We got a lot of stuff at a lot of levels. More than that, if you want us to keep the lights on and keep such high quality entertainment and comedy gold as this, then we need you to donate. Just because it makes sure that we have space for our streaming, we have place to keep our fun giveaways going. Reminder, if you are going to War Machine Weekend next week, go find Gonzo, afternoon on Sunday. Take a selfie with him, say dice down, put it up on our page. You get some swag, which is another term for shit you don't need but you like.
Of course.
Yeah. And if you can find Gonzo, remember, he likes hugs.
Shit.
You can volunteer me for everything you want, but I can send people after you, Gonzo.
So with that going, guys, we do need help trying to make sure we get stuff done on this. We do have a lot of expenses, and we just had a large expense come up because something is happening on More Than Dice. It is a sad moment and a awesome moment at the same time. Right now, we have someone leaving the podcast. This person's leaving the podcast because we don't hold people and capture them. So, if you are leaving the More Than Dice podcast, say, oh shit.
Oh, shit. Actually, I think you should have been, oh, she. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm afraid that your favorite carnival barker will be heading off after this episode. Life is just a little too much life right now. Having moved cross country, started a new job, teaching 2 new sets of classes, maintaining a relationship, all of which means that I'm going to have to go the way of the dodo. Good news is they've got somebody to replace me who is way better, way more interesting, but probably not as caffeinated as I am right this minute.
So, with that being said, Seth, you're always welcome to come back and do stuff. You know that. We're buddies for life. We still beard hug all the time.
Yeah, sometimes when I'm not even expecting it.
I know, especially when I come up behind you and wrap my hand around you. Yep.
Hey, how did you get in the bedroom? That's all I want to know.
Well, you do smell better when you're awake, so don't worry about that. So, with that being said, we have already got someone new on the staff, and I'm really super excited. I had to beg, plead, and cry to get this person to commit and be part of our podcast. So if you are going to be on the Northern Dice podcast or now the new hobby specialist, say, hell, oh shit, what'd I get myself into?
Hell, oh shit, what did I get myself into?
Yay!
Girlfriend.
Yay, Kathy!
And if anybody don't know, Kathy has agreed to be on and be our hobby person for More Than Dice, which I am super, super excited about.
That's awesome.
Yeah, congratulations.
I'll be happy to take your hobby questions.
So, Kathy will be on here. We are going to start up full swing after War Machine Weekend. This Sunday, they might do something small, but I will be Facebook live streaming all weekend. So if you see me at War Machine Weekend, look me up. I'm probably going to be Facebook living. Kathy has already been getting started. She's already got ideas. She's already got ideas on the first miniature to paint for our $15 award winner. She's already got a bunch of ideas going in her head. We've already started talking about things. We're going to get her set up so we can get some things done. And also painting videos and whatever else she's wanting to do. She's already got authorization on all of our websites and stuff. So other than that, yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, Kathy's got control of everything.
So Kathy will be the third part. John is still on the podcast. He's just off today. And he will be back on Sunday. John and Kathy, I don't know if John's going to want to do something, but he said he might. Just depends. So y'all two may want to get together and figure out. With that said, I'm super, super excited. So, let's get started on what we're really, really here for. Because... Oh, yeah, shit. Fuck, hold on.
Kathy, this is what your job is going to be. I just want to let you know. Remind Gonzo to drink. He's got to stay hydrated. If he doesn't stay hydrated, he loses his voice, he loses his focus. The popcorn is too salty. This is who you're going to be.
And then it's all your fault.
Mm-hmm. Lynn's got it right.
That's right. I know what's up.
It's all about getting drunk. So, when Seth and I talked about doing this podcast, we were talking about, he sent me that article, and we were talking about what it's like for females within not just the painting community, but the hobby community, the gaming community, and everything in it. And, of course, I can't speak for that, but I can imagine. And Seth was like, we've got to do this. And I'm like, yeah, we have to talk about this because this is coming up. It just kind of weird that it happened around the Me Too hashtag that came out. Because we'd actually started talking about it and getting everybody together like the beginning of October. And then that came out, which is a sad thing that happened, but a necessary thing, I guess you could say. That hashtag came out, because I think it actually opened some people's eyes. Anybody want to comment on that?
It was overwhelming.
It was,
really.
Actually.
It was like...
Every girl I knew.
Yeah, it was this weird moment of like pain, but also like empathy and like something kind of cathartic about it, just to see like one after the other, after the other, after the other. Like it's all Facebook was for a while.
Right. And it made people feel, at least like me, feel like, well, I guess I'm not alone, really.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which I know they always say that, but
Exactly.
like you don't really know,
Right.
and you
Yeah.
really felt it.
And it's just something we talk about so rarely that
Right.
I think it really got a lot of people to engage with it. And especially people who might have been like really outside that kind of interaction normally, or people who say like, yeah, I know this happens, but I've never seen it. And then it's like, oh,
Right.
all of my
Yeah.
friends.
Like everybody I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like male and female. Like it didn't
Exactly.
Yeah.
discriminate.
Yeah.
It was everyone. And then I even saw people who were apologizing for things
Yeah,
they did.
Really?
I
That's
saw
that
too.
amazing.
Exactly.
So when we're
Absolutely.
talking about the Me Too thing that's going on, we aren't talking about. Let's say I'm gonna use Angelina for example because her and I are pretty tight. Angelina, if I see you at a convention and
Yeah.
I see you painting up and stuff, and I come up to you and I go, "Hey, I think you're pretty hot, pretty cool. Would you like to go out on a date?" Is that what we're talking about?
I don't know. I guess it depends on who you're talking to. I wouldn't necessarily be upset or offended or feel anything weird. I would just be like, here's the deal. Thank you, but no.
Okay.
And I
So-
keep going.
Okay, so we're not talking about a one-time. We're not talking about a guy. Hey, the standard non-creepy thing. We're just talking. I mean, we're not talking about that because a lot of people. I don't want to say a lot of people, but some person brought it up. It's like, well, I'm afraid to talk to the girl. She might think I'm creepy or doing that stuff. And I go, but there's a difference. There's a difference
Yeah.
between me going up and asking you out on a date, and you saying no, and me going okay, and I walk away.
Exactly.
To anybody got an example they want to show or tell?
Well, I used to take the city bus, to work. I'm sorry. I have a lot of and I didn't get done with work until 11 p.m. And so I had to walk like a few blocks to the bus stop. And here's what was crazy about it. It didn't matter if it was summertime or if it was straight winter, because I live in Wisconsin, right? If I was wearing like my leggings and a winter jacket, like totally covered, there was somebody. I mean, I don't want to say anything like. Am I allowed to say something? I don't want to say like too graphic, but like.
Oh, you can go graphic. Trust
You know,
me.
okay.
It's okay.
So I've had moments where like full winter jacket up, like some just rando on the street be like, "Oh, hey, baby, nice legs. Why don't you come here with those?" And it's like, motherfucker, you can't even see my fucking legs. What are you talking about? Like, it's so weird. I've been followed a few times. It doesn't. I think because I have really good resting bitch face, I can kind of scare some dudes off just by giving them a look a little. I've had some moments where like.
I'm like, oh my god, looking angry all the time? Yes!
It works perfectly, you know. Oh, why don't you smile, sweetie? How about you suck my dick? How about that? Like, I can't handle that. Yeah. I've also had cars follow me, which is a little weird. Yeah, it's not okay. It's just.
Yeah. So this is going beyond. This is not some guy hitting on you and then taking the turn down and walking away.
Mm-hmm.
So I want people to understand that because there are some guys I'm sure that look at y'all and go, oh, she's probably pretty cool, pretty awesome. I'd like to get to know her. Maybe she'll go out on a date with me. Oh, she's not going to go on a date with me. All right, we're done. We can just walk away from it, or we can just be friends, blah, blah, blah. We're not talking about that type of situation. So who wants to give me something within our hobby? Because I know this has become a pretty hot topic, and I did send y'all an article recently about where a game company had done a day just for women. Kat, you got that head nodding like you're a bobblehead. What do you want to tell me about what's happening in the hobby?
I was just saying, like, yeah, I read that. Like, I did read the article and
I think it's really.
did the homework.
The homework.
That's all I really had to say about that, yeah.
I
What were you
think
gonna,
it's pretty
were you
cool.
starting to talk, Angelina?
Wait, what? Say what?
I felt like I talked over you. What were you saying?
Oh no, you're cool. I just think it's pretty cool, like, because I've been to quite a few tournaments, and it can be a little hard being a girl there, especially if you're like the only girl there. It's really weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that too when I used to play War Machine. And we had a pretty good community, like mostly really friendly people, but it was just like, I don't know, every now and then someone would just be weird. And I didn't have a whole ton of horrible experiences or anything like that, but just some of the comments people would make, it's just kind of like, I don't want to think about the fact that I'm the only girl here. Like,
Exactly.
let's not into it.
Right, exactly.
Yep.
I think that's part of the thing, like, not to make assumptions about gamers, but as a group, we may be a bit socially awkward, get a little bit
Totally.
anxious about meeting new people. So when you're going somewhere and you know you're going to be most likely the only woman there, it can be a little bit like, do I want to go? So whereas you want to
Yep.
include everyone, having a place where it's like, oh, this is going to be all women to get you into this, like, help you out, then you meet friends, then you can, like, go as more than one to, you know, an organized event, and you don't feel like you're the only person there.
Right.
Like, I think that's cool to help get more people into the hobby who would be intimidated otherwise.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, I know that I'm going back to Angelina because we had actually talked about this because I'd asked her, and she was telling me, you know, that she was playing in a tournament, and she had got her army ready, and she positioned herself.
Oh,
against
you're
this
talking
guy.
about the War Machine tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That happens.
this guy was like, "Hey, man, can you hurry up and get done? We're ready to go eat or whatever." And the guy goes, "It's all right. It's a girl. I'll be done shortly." And I was like,
Well, he was actually
Oh,
said, he said,
shit.
I'm a girl. He's like, this is a girl. I got this. To his friend, right in front of me, and I looked at them like, I can hear you. Do you know that? Like,
Oh no, you're a girl. You're deaf. Remember?
right. Obviously, I don't understand you talking. Whoa, my bad.
Oh,
Your breasts are far too loud.
Obviously. I actually even had one guy one time, because War Machine, right? Many of you play, you know, timed turns with a chess clock, okay? I was in the middle of my turn, had like 10 minutes left, and this guy came up to his friend and was like, hey, what's taking so long? And the guy said, oh, she's dragging the turn out. It's on a clock. I can't drag anything out. What are you talking? Oh my god. So frustrating.
Stupid.
"Oh, I hear Lynn. Give me that northern New Yorker. Come on, come on, give it to me, girl."
Oh man, I would love to see some. I wouldn't want that to happen to Lynn, but I would love to see someone try and
No,
fuck
don't
with
think for
Lynn.
1 minute that just because I didn't sit there and write the hashtag Me Too that I don't have my own stories. Because believe me, I do. I have stories that would turn all your hair whiter than cat's hair up there. Believe me. Believe me when I tell you, I got stories. But I'm not going to sit there and get into all that crap because then I thought this was supposed to be a fun show, and this will turn it into a not fun show real quick.
Well, and that's kind of one of the points that we need to discuss on this is that it's about a respect thing. A lot of respect on this because it doesn't matter who and what you are.
Yep.
It's about respecting each individual as a person. I also know that, like, in the painting stuff, I know one of the stereotypes of female painters is all female painters are great painters no matter what they do. That instantly, that when they pick up the miniature and they pick up paint, that they can always paint a great miniature. Have anybody heard that one?
have you
Oh
seen
yeah,
my
that's
miniatures?
totally true.
Totally 100% true.
Does Kat send us a bit of her hair and we just like clip it to our hair and then we can paint like her? When does my package arrive?
You actually have to eat it, is how that works.
If I can paint that good, I'll eat it.
I got it. Yep.
No, I
Yeah.
actually don't know about this stereotype.
I've never
Like-
heard that either, actually.
Like, are
yeah.
you supposed to skip your trash phase? Like, how does that happen?
Yeah.
Oh, some get to skip their trash phase. I've seen it happen.
Mhm.
I mean, sure, like different talent levels and stuff, but
Yeah.
like, you know, when I was first started painting, Marika Raymer was the one who I was like, slobber, like, let me look at all your art and beautiful shit. And I saw her post, the first figure she ever painted, and it was like, you know, it looked like anything that you would paint for the first time. Like,
Right.
I didn't prime it, and it's one color of purple, and it looks like crap. Like, I don't know. I don't really understand that stereotype.
I think what it is, and I'm going to largely try to actually be silent tonight despite the jokes and silliness, because I think that your voices are just frankly more important tonight. If not always, but tonight especially. So one of the things that I've heard people say at various painting tables is exactly that stereotype. And I don't hear it from women, I hear it only from guys. And then what they do is they talk about only the top 3 or 4 women painters that they know. They don't mention anybody in their community. They don't mention anybody else. And one of the things that I've always wondered about is, do they know that there are women in their community who are painting, who are doing things? Like, is it just that they're so far out of the loop?
Not necessarily. I think they sit there and use those top 3 or 4 examples because they're out there on the internet in social media, and it's automatically assumed that everybody else saw them. So therefore, when you sit there and say, oh, for example, Susie Q, who's always up on, then the person is always like, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about because I've already seen her on this page and that page and whatever. If you sit there and talk about the chick 10 blocks down from you, nobody's going to know who the hell you're talking about, and they're most likely not going to care. So, but if you sit there and you...
True.
Yeah, but if you talk about somebody that everybody's seen, like an act, even when you talk about movies, or use people for an example, an actor, you're gonna pick somebody everybody knows, not somebody that nobody knows from a hole in the wall from like a B-rated horror film or something. That's not how it works.
Right.
Yeah, and like I would say that probably in most places still, the local gaming culture and like tabletop painting is predominantly male. So probably most of your local comparisons are other dudes. Not everywhere, but I would say a lot of places. Everywhere I've been, for sure.
Mm-hmm. I'm probably thinking of women who have the painting DVDs and stuff too, like...
Right, like Jen Haley.
Oh, yeah, it's like, look at this person, they paint amazingly, and it's like, well, yeah, because they've been painting forever, and they're amazing.
Yeah.
Would you like to see some poorly painted miniatures? I can send you some.
and that's actually a really good point that you bring up, because we really don't start seeing people's name or start seeing their work until they become famous. And one of my kids, somebody knows, as everybody knows or doesn't know, I'm a special ed teacher, and I teach mentally behavior and some really, really bad kids, but a lot of them like to draw. And I've got one kid in my classroom, and she wants to be a tattoo artist, and I'm like, no problem. Let's figure out, all this stuff. And I actually use some of this stuff in math, and she's learning how to draw. And she's like, I just can't get this. I'm just going to give up. I go, what would have happened if, say, Todd McFarlane stopped drawing Spawn, or any comic book artist, or J.K. Rowling decided screw it after she was told no the first few times for Harry Potter? What would have happened to those things? We wouldn't have had them. So I'm like, you've got to keep trying. It doesn't matter if it looks bad. It doesn't matter if it looks good. You just got to keep trying and keep doing.
Practice is a huge part of it.
Yes. Even myself. Like I says, I'm horrible at painting, but I'm going to push myself to try to get better. And I think it goes back that we honestly, as a hobby community, don't see someone until after they've already gotten really good at their craft or are on that precipice when they're getting really good. And that's the reason why I wanted, Jessica to be on here, because she was like, well, I'm not a good painter. I would feel, bad for being on with all these awesome painters. And I'm like, no, Jessica, that's what we need to see. We need to have people like this. Yeah, everybody's giving you the what the fuck look.
No. Don't say those things.
Well, everyone also is like, I feel like they've been in the hobby longer. Like, I kept doing the really bad thing, which is where you watch a bunch of tutorials, you paint one time, and you're like, it's true.
Question. Every other painter on the cast, who else has done that? Where you've looked at what somebody else has done and been like, that's it, I'm done. I can't do this.
Yeah. So I finally started practicing recently, so...
Yeah, Cat don't even look like that. Literally, I obsess over your work way too much. Like, I actually zoom in and I focus, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm gonna try. I don't know, but I'm gonna try. Like, I obsess over it.
Oh no. I don't know. Like, that's definitely a thing, right? Like with getting discouraged and getting maybe overwhelmed by looking at people's art. Like one of my favorite artists ever when it comes to miniature stuff is Bohan. And if you look at his work, like the freehand is fucking absurd. Like, what? How do you do that? And so I look at it, and I guess it makes me a little bit angry, but like it's a motivating kind of angry.
Yeah.
Like, I need to do it.
Challenge.
Gotta put it on a model now.
Right.
Well, I think that was something that helped too, was hearing people that I consider like people that I look up to as a painter. And they go, oh my god, I was looking at this person's paintings, and how do they do that? And I feel like my stuff's not good enough. And I was like, oh, everyone feels this way. Yay!
Yes, we do.
I also think why we notice maybe more like I don't want to say like more female painters who are really well. I think it's because there's so few of us that in general, if one of us is like sticks out, it becomes a big deal. Like look at her, look what she's doing.
I can see that.
Because I know I'm going to pick on somebody real quick. She's in the audience. My friend Erica. She's just now starting to learn how to paint, and she painted her first miniature, and it was really good. But she's done other painting before, just never miniatures. And she's looking at it, and I know she's like, "Well, it's not like." I'm like, "Don't worry about that. You just started. Keep working at it. Keep practicing. Keep doing, and you'll get better. I mean, whether you want to or not, it's up to you." But I think that's something that just kind of puts some people off because it's, well, shit. I'm never gonna be able to like Seth. I'm not gonna be able to paint like any of y'all ever unless I actually start doing it. So Jessica, I'm gonna pick on you. How long have you been painting?
Well, like I
in the miniatures.
Miniatures.
Yeah,
it's been, I'd say like it's been years, but I only started practicing actively and trying to really learn how to paint for like a year. So like I really started to like go, okay, I'm going to watch this tutorial and then I'm going to try and do this over and over and over, and I'm going to try and paint every single day, even if it's for a few minutes, which I know some of you guys paint every single day for like fucking 12 hours a day, and I don't even know how you do that. But I work a super boring cubicle job all day, so coming home and painting sometimes it's just like, oh, I don't have the energy to paint, but I would just go, you gotta fucking paint or you're never gonna get better. So
that's awesome. That takes discipline, like.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Well, there's I'm sure like a bunch of you that are at ReaperCon. There's this girl, I'm probably pronouncing her screen name wrong, but she's Morahilda. Everyone calls her like Maury. She always has the little antlers on. Yeah. She was drawing every day, no matter what it was. And I was just like, I'm going to paint every day because she's drawing every day. And she really inspired me because she was getting better like so fast that I was just like, I'm going to do this too. But she was a huge inspiration for me with just how dedicated she is to everything she does.
I mean, did everybody just automatically pick up a paintbrush and the first model was crystal brush winning type material?
Jesus,
no, mine's
still not.
Mine's still not.
I don't even think mine is either.
Mine's like
enamel.
Do you guys remember the first models you painted?
Oh yeah,
I do.
Mine was.
I saw pictures of them somewhere. Actually,
model. I did too. Mine was a Malifaux model. I painted Ophelia, and she, like, when I painted her, I was like, "Holy shit, this looks awesome!" Super excited about it, and then like looking back on it now, I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like, it looks like a 5-year-old painted that. It's terrible.
It just means you've progressed, right? Like, it's a good thing.
Yes.
You look back and you're like,
yeah, no, I have progressed. It's not very much, but that's okay. We all live at our own pace.
Not very much.
Well, progress is progress.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's not going to look the same for everybody. So just to
No.
be an irritating teacher guy for a second. I've heard people talk also about the 10,000 hours, that you need 10,000 hours of something. And what they've actually shown is that 10,000 hours doesn't matter. It's 10,000 hours of dedicated practice with reflection and a coach. And that's one of the nice things about those online places that we have, like the Hobby Hangout, like War Machine Painting, where people can give you feedback. That's what makes it valuable. So like showing your stuff and being okay that they're going to say, yeah, that's done. I like it. But here's 5 things you can do to make it better. And then go try one of them.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's get away from the paint just a little bit. Let's get into the hobby. And when I'm talking about hobby, who here makes and sculpts their own stuff? Nobody?
Like sculpt basing stuff, not
Basing
actual figures.
Not actual figures?
No.
really minor shit only.
I mean, yeah, I've
did a
sculpted little
figure.
things with green stuff for like bases before, but
Kathy's got tiny Kathy.
Yeah, I do have Tiny Kathy. That was my very first, and so far only, completely scratch sculpted model. And of course, that was a self-portrait. so that I could put myself in other people's dioramas and take selfies.
That's awesome.
They're the best.
And so
Yeah,
she's
great.
been touring around all the different conventions over the course of this year.
So, not many sculptors per se. Nothing like constant make their own stuff. What about gamers? Who here actually plays the games they paint?
I do.
I do.
A lot.
I used to. I used to play Malifaux.
All right, so let's go around the table. Kat, what games are you playing?
I don't play
Miniature-wise.
tabletop games anymore at all. Like, D&D is as far as I go, where like maybe I'll paint a model and it'll be my character and I'll put it on the table. I used to play War Machine, but I realized that I just wanted to be painting. So, yeah.
That is totally okay.
I'm also really like tactically not sound whatsoever. I make terrible decisions in games. So, yeah.
All right, Angelina, what are you playing?
I play Infinity the Game by Corvus Belli. That is pretty much the only game I play like seriously. I've played 40K a little, but you know, like I don't really play it like that. And I also have a miniature in the Infinity game, which is great. So I guess that shows how much I play it. I do.
It's so cool.
It is. You know how many boxes of those girls I've had to paint already? It is crazy. Everybody's like, paint Riot Girls for me. Okay. That's fine. But yeah.
So pretty much Infinity's your go-to game in tournament style type stuff?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay. Kathy, what do you play?
My gateway miniature game was Blood Bowl. And I played in a local league, and I did participate in one tournament, and we all had a blast. And I love that game. I don't get a chance to play things these days. I'm busy, and the game store that we used to go to all the time closed. So I used to play 40K. I haven't played since the beginning of 5th edition, though. Although I'm told that this is the time to get back into it now. I hear they've made some great changes. I still have my army. I still have my Dark Angels.
Nice.
This edition is actually a really good edition. It's a much cleaner, much better version of the game, much simpler. So yeah, if you want to get back into it, I'd say right now is the time to do it.
That's what I'm hearing, and I just need to find some place. But also, I have a Guild Ball team. I have the Butchers. They're all painted. I've only played 1.5 games yet with them, so because no local game store are convenient to me. But my friends have promised that at Adepticon we can play games. So, hey. So and Bolt Action. Oh, I could go on. I'm like, the Bolt Action is the one that I've played a few games, and I see more in my future because my husband also is really into that right now, and we have a bunch of other friends. We can go into somebody's basement and play, and that's World War II, but it has the same kind of flavor as 40K, but, you know, World War II, instead of bolt guns, it's, you know, rifles. But I've really enjoyed the mechanics of that game.
Cool.
So I won't go on.
No, because actually our first episode, when we get the team all back together, is Ask Cassie Everything. We're gonna ask, it's gonna be all about you. So, and we'll have a pod stream all about that. So, Liz, are you playing any adventure games?
Not currently. I used to play Malifaux for like 1.5 years, like when I first got into gaming, well, tabletop gaming, and then I just kind of stopped playing and started painting. So.
All right. Then I got my next question that's going to be coming up shortly, but I want to know, Jessica, are you playing anything?
I am not. I was always into Dungeons and Dragons. I played multiple editions. My husband played since, like, I don't know, early 90s, he used to like mapping. So, but we ran into the everyone gets older and has a pile of children and can no longer game category. So I haven't played D&D for a little while, but that's also how I got into painting, is making your, characters.
I think it's like a gateway drug to miniature painting.
Oh, it really is.
Is the role-playing aspect. Seth, are you playing anything?
I am playing War Machine when I can. I'm playing grammar review games. I'm playing How Should I Fix That Paragraph. I'm playing a lot of games in class and at school. I'm playing with people's hearts and minds. But I don't have a lot of time for other things. Every now and then I think about getting into... there's an RPG group here that's pretty strong that I've talked to, and they said they got room for one more person. But it's just a matter of time right now. And if I don't have time to do the podcast, I really don't have time to start a new RPG. Though in the move, I did find a piece of childhood memory that was kind of terrifying. I found my first edition of D&D, which was the basic edition from 1983, and I do remember getting it when it came out over at Games Plus. So, Kathy, I have been gaming there since basically I was an embryo.
Wow.
Yeah, so maybe one day I'll get time to game again. Right now I can find an hour or so every couple days to do some painting. But I am sick of painting armies.
What?
It's true. It's true.
Lynn, what you playing?
I play Guild Ball, Warhammer 40K. I used to play War Machine, but I wasn't really enjoying that because people ruined it for me, so I stopped playing that. And then, let me think what else. I have the stuff for Blood Bowl, and that's all I can think of off the top of my head. I play a lot of stuff, but yeah, that's like mainly what I play.
So, question on that: since you said you stopped playing War Machine because of what happened, was it a tournament style scene that kind of pushed you back away from it?
No, I just sat there. Oh, sorry. Or was it what? Sorry.
Or was it the players? What pushed you away from War Machine and Hordes?
Because basically, I was trying to learn the game. I work literally over 100 hours a week, so I don't have time to fully sit there and read a rule book from cover to cover. It's just that's my life. And but I do learn by if people demonstrate to me how to do something. So I say, hey, how do you do this? Oh, you do it like this. Okay, I'm good. Goodbye, I'm good. But like I sat there and I asked people how to play the game, and every person told me a different way to play it.
That happened to me too.
And I turned around and I started getting pissed off when, like, in the same event, a third person told me differently what I could do with my character, and he was sitting there like, well, your character can only do this. My character, he could sit there and he could do this and chew bubblegum and scratch his ass and do this and do that and you beat, And so,
dude, that
so I
used to
turned
happen
around.
to me.
Yeah, see? So I turned around and I said, all right, that's it. I pointed out the other two and I said, why the hell are you telling me this? Why are you telling me this? And why are you telling me this? How the hell is this game played? You guys, there's a book, so that means there's a standard to how this whole thing is done. And each year is giving me a different story. So how the hell are you teaching other people how to play the game if you're giving everybody a different story?
Yep. That used to happen to me, dude, in tournaments. It was the craziest shit. And then I was like, and actually, like TOs, like running the event would get confused. And I'm like, what?
Yeah. So I actually wrote a letter to Privateer Press about it and was like, hey, bro, here's the deal. And it wasn't even so much the truth is, even though it disappointed me with playing the game, the truth is that I felt bad because if I'm going through it, I knew a bunch of other people were going through it too. So other people's times are getting ruined. And if these people who teach people to play the game are supposed to be leaders in it, then you're not setting the example and you're ruining other people's time, and how are you supposed to get people in the hobby if you do shit like that? That makes no sense to me. So I wrote like a whole thing and was like, hey, to be honest, here's what happened. I worry for other people because of this, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, I'm not telling you because I'm expecting any sort of petition or change or whatever. I'm just telling you because I just think you should know that this is going on. And apparently, this goes on all over the place, obviously, because Angie's in Wisconsin and, not here in Texas. So, obviously, But, yeah, I did sit there and find out from other people that it goes on, like, pretty much all over the place. And I think that that's a shame.
Mm-hmm. And the reason why I asked is because, I mean, I'm a huge War Machine and Hordes fan. I used to be a press ganger before the program got cut over. And so I was always the guy that was like, all right, let's sit down, let's do this. Let me tell you the basics. Then let me show you the complicated stuff. Let me show you the combos. And so I understand 100% where you're coming from. One, you got people that don't know the game. Because I've gone to tournaments where this guy is like, well, this rule says this and this is this. And I'm like, but that's not what the rule is. And they're like, yeah, that is. And I'm like, no, here is the rule. Here's what's written in black and white in the book. Here it is. This is how it works. Now, don't get me wrong. We're all going to make mistakes, and we're all going to, flub a rule or two because there's a huge amount. And I'm sure you're shaking your head, and you're like, that's understandable. You're talking about huge, egregious errors and problems.
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah, like, I mean, I'm not trying to be a dick and be like, oh, that I don't understand that people sometimes have, different perceptions or understand, especially if, say, someone has, God forbid, a learning disability or something like that. If there was a little variation because someone misunderstood or understood it a certain way, I would have had no issue with that whatsoever. And you know what? I have 3 college degrees, so obviously I'm not confused on how this bullshit works. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I'm the best War Machine or was the best War Machine player ever either. The thing is that Brandon is just as smart as I am, and he went through the same thing. So we were just both like, nah, bro. Like, we loved the models. We kept which models we liked, but we sold off all the rest of our stuff. Because I was like, in all honesty, I've been going through, especially in the last few years, way too mumuch stress in my life to sit there and let a game stress me out. You know what I'm saying? Totally. It just doesn't make sense, and it's not worth it. So yeah, Brandon and I, we sold off our War Machine stuff. We kept what we liked in way of models. I still like the models, don't get me wrong. I still love Privateer Press and their paints and everything else, and I love the guys, don't get me wrong. I just felt that was not, that whole thing wasn't good. That's all.
Oh, and I totally agree with you. This is a game, and it's kind of what Kathy and I had talked about this when we were talking about her joining the podcast. I was like, we're a gaming podcast. We're not a let's make the best list. Let's go over the best cool stuff. Let's build the best list for tournament play. All those things, because that's not who we are. We're about games. And because I told her, because she listened to us on the way back, and I apologize for that, Kathy, that you had to listen to us on the way back, because we don't get into that. I mean, we do discuss stuff that's important, and we do discuss like game rules and everything, but it's not the center focus of what we're doing on the podcast. And I feel bad that you got treated that way for the fact that that's not the game I play, and that's not the way I want the game to be played. Because if something's difficult, we need to step back and see what's going on and figure out. And if it's like, okay, I played Guild Ball, tried it, just wasn't my game. Have nothing against it, it's just not my game. And I can see if you can say, hey, that's not my game because it's not your style. But you had a bad experience, and if there is ever a time, and I'll see you at Adepticon, I will play you a game of War Machine, and we're going to have a good time, and we're going to drink at the same time during it. Deal? Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, the thing is, too, is that it wasn't just that one event.
No.
It happened in another part of Texas that I was at, too, where, these dudes, and people came to me complaining about it, too, that, like, in another part of Texas at another game store, some of my friends over there were just like, yeah, dude, I tried to learn the game, and this dude tried to teach it to me, but only in a way to make sure that he wins.
Mm-hmm. And it's like,
yes, that's totally what they would always do.
And it's like, for Christ's sake, it's toys. It's just toys. That's all it is. You know what I mean? You're not going to get, You're not going to cure cancer or anything by winning the game. So please get over yourself and remember that it's a game. Like that.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't understand why people do that.
Go ahead, Kat.
Bringing on new person just to win a game, like, oh, that's gross.
It
That's
is.
so gross.
It
Like, if
really
you're
is.
doing a demo or something and you're, like, trying to crush someone, and I have seen that happen, it's like, why are you doing this?
It's the
Yes.
It's
rudest
not a
thing.
challenge for you.
Nope,
Why
I've
are you
seen
being
people do it to
disgusting?
children too. Yeah.
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 Yeah,
What?
that pisses me
Oh,
off.
that's so
Yeah.
messed up.
Ask,
Yeah.
ask
So
Brandon.
bad.
I think Brandon was there for one of those situations, and he was like, "No, that's not okay."
That's beyond messed up. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And one of the things about War Machine Horde is it's such a competitive game that some people just take it way too serious. And
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, it's a game, flat out to begin with. I don't care what anybody says, it's a game. And now, if you and I are going to be sitting down, learning a game, teaching you a game, we're going to roll dice, have a good time, let you ask questions, take things back. I'm like, hey, you don't want to do that because if you do that, this could happen. And they're like, so what else do you want to do instead? But there is such a steep learning and steep competitive curve to War Machine Hordes
Yeah.
that people get rolled like crazy. And I'm like, okay, one, if it's just a game at the shop and we're just learning how to play and we're figuring out the rules and stuff, do take backs, move things back, do whatever you want so you can have fun.
Right.
Yeah,
If,
exactly.
if you're going to a tournament, I can't help you. I mean,
The
I can't sit
tournaments,
Yeah.
they game the list too with tier lists too. Like, so they'll just always make sure they've got the best thing to give all the benefits, and you're just
Yeah, and so I'm not going to speak about tournament play. I'm going to talk about what you did, because if someone's teaching you how to play the game to get you in, you don't go and rickroll them. And you don't teach them the wrong way or teach them how so you can win. There's no point in that. I would rather have someone in the game that's horrible at playing but enjoys playing than to lose a player than anything else, because that's very important to me. Because at one point you may come in and just whoop the shit out of me after you figure out something that you liked and you got, and I didn't see it coming because I'm not used to it. But whooping the shit out of somebody just so you can whoop the shit out of them is plain asinine.
It's bad
Yeah.
for the community.
100% bad
it's
for the
really
community.
bad.
That's exactly my point. That's exactly what I said when I wrote to them too. I was like, that's bad for the community. These are people that you have chosen to be leaders in your community, because obviously you guys are in a building in Seattle. You can't be everywhere, you know. So you pick these certain people to represent you, and you know, basically they're representing you to look like an asshole. And if that's what you want, that's
Exactly.
fine. But like, I know that's not how you guys are. You know, like we all know Dallas. He's one of the sweetest human beings in the world. You know what I mean? So obviously they're not about that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I felt that it was definitely bad for the community. Now tournament play, I can completely understand the change in mindset, the competitiveness, because you got to be in that mindset. You got to, so to speak, get into character. Otherwise, that can mess up your flow or your work or whatever. That's fine. But like we're sitting there, we're trying to have fun in a game, and you're just trying to teach somebody. Like, calm down. You know, that's all I'm saying.
See, what was before, I'm going to tell a bit about myself. And before I started playing War Machine Hordes, I played 40K. And I played competitive 40K. And I was huge competitive into it. No takebacks, no nothing. It was just this. And I played in a tournament, and I rickrolled everybody I went against. And I went, this is not fun for me. This is not fun for my opponent. I'm not having fun. He's not having fun. There's just nothing going on here. I'm like, I'm done with this game. Because it's turned into the competitive thing, and I'd stopped playing tournament games. I sold off everything. And then War Machine Hordes came out, and I was like, nope, not going to get into it, not going to do it. And then someone showed it to me and showed me the style, and we had a good time, and it was real small, and it was fun. I was like, oh, yeah, I can do this. And got into it. Now, I'm a tournament player, but I'm not a hardcore tournament player. If I lose, 2 tears in the bucket, fuck it, it's a game. I do what I do. I mean, I'm going to have fun. If I'm not having fun, I'm definitely not going to play. So, I think that's gotten to be, I don't want to say it's an issue with War Machine Hordes, but I've seen that pattern before.
Yeah,
with War
it's
Machine Hordes.
that's not the only game. I mean, I've seen
No.
people turn around and do it in Warhammer and Warhammer 40K too. And I
People
feel the
do
same
it in
way about
board
that.
games.
Oh yeah, totally.
God.
Yeah.
So, Liz, I saw you shaking your head a couple of times when we were talking about competitive play and people rickrolling the rules to make them for themselves. What you got to tell me?
Well, so there was a time where I attempted 40K, and during that time, I encountered people who were even close to me who were doing the same thing to me.
Yeah.
So people that I loved and trusted, and like that was how they played against me. So
That's rude.
Yeah, think
a lot of people ask me all the time why I like don't like 40K, and like it stems from that. Like it was pretty bad because it was every time I tried to play. You know, anytime that I actually tried to learn, you know, it went south. So, and then there were some other issues there too, but we won't get into that.
That's not cool.
So,
Is the
yeah.
lesson here that 40K makes you a bad person?
It used to be, and the thing
Well,
is
I would
Seth
say that.
and Kat can kind of go with this, and 40K, the community, whenever I played it before War Machine Hordes, was toxic beyond belief. I mean, it was bad toxic. I mean, theft among players, you know, just all that stuff. And then when I got into War Machine Hordes and started getting in the community of that community is the tightest community I've ever seen. I have never been in a community of players that when someone got their army stolen, the entire community bought him a whole new army. Twice.
Wait, which community is this again? Sorry, my cat's...
The War Machine and Hordes community, outside of what you're having with, but as the personal level...
Yeah.
I had a friend of mine, Clifton Klein, which is in the Tulsa area, had his Trollblood army stolen one time. Got replaced.
That's awesome.
The community got together and did that. Then something happened, and he got it replaced again.
Oh, God.
Then, example, William Hungerford had his entire Minions army stolen from his car.
Oh,
So,
Jesus.
of course, he got his army back, but the community all painted the army for him. They all sent pieces out to the
That's
press
sweet.
gangers,
That's
and so all the press gangers got the models and painted up his army and sent it back to him.
That's really awesome.
Yeah. And I know this is, it's a sad thing, but when Kim passed away, we raised a shit ton of money for different charities. People came out of the woodwork. Everybody just came out and supported everybody, and we bonded together. I know at one War Machine Weekend event, I mean, at there, people just leave their armies on the tables overnight.
Yeah.
And just leave them out there, and nobody cares. Until we saw one person try to pick up someone's army that wasn't theirs. And the entire group of people standing around jumped him and beat him down and made sure he couldn't take that army from him, because that's how tight the community is.
That's amazing.
Yes.
That's
and
how
you're
the
like,
Infinity community is too. I love
Yeah.
it.
see, I don't know much about the Infinity community. And that's the kind of
Oh, it's
community I want.
amazing.
I want that type of community because I can go, crap. Prime example. Go to War Machine Weekend, a new model comes out, brand new, Glacier King. Just came out at War Machine Weekend. I need to borrow 2 for a tournament. 2 guys I don't even know, never met them, give me both of those models. These are $120 models for the weekend to play with.
Yeah.
Well, and
That's
the
really
Malifaux
awesome.
community, the Malifaux community is the same way. Like, they're a really good group of people. Like, I think in general, the gaming community is
Pretty good.
really good. You're gonna have bad apples. Like, no matter what
course.
game you
For
play
sure.
or what community you're in. Like,
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
that's just kind of how it is.
And like
it
with
sucks.
40K, like it's so old by comparison and has such a larger fan base that I feel like
Exactly.
if you take the stance that like 90% of anything is shit, there's just more of it there. So like I feel like it's not necessarily that it's a worse community by what it is. It's just that there's a more potential for things to go wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they can
And
be
I
a
will
little bit
say-
louder about it.
Yeah, well, yeah, and like most of the stories that I've heard, because I've never been part of the Warhammer community, but most of the like the really bad ones involving women have come from Warhammer. But yeah, I just feel like it's because it's so popular.
I think
That's
so.
Yeah, it goes without saying. It's the like some people like are like, but I'm not like that. I'm a decent person, and it's like it's not all gamers. It's not all this. It's not all that.
Oh, for sure.
Like you can have like a place I used to live in. The local gaming store was extremely toxic, no matter who you were. Like you walked in, you weren't a local. You better fuck off because we don't want you here. We have our core group. To the point where people who worked there were like, this store just is terrible because they scare away new people. They opened another location, and everyone's like, you have to go to the new location. It's the most wonderful, demoing, welcoming, beautiful place on the world. And you're like, that's so bizarre. And considering where they were located, where I grew up, I'm like, well, that fucking makes sense because everyone from that area is a fucking asshole. But
Love it.
I think other things is I hate that games come out because there's actually some really good games, and we get that toxic community where I'm going to rickroll you or I'm going to change it so you're not having a good time, but I'm winning, and I think that ruins a lot of games out there.
Sure
lot
does.
of games.
Yep. For
I
sure.
think in a lot of cases, that's also, not in every case, but in a lot of cases, when I've seen people who do that, they're not the people who travel, they're not the people who are dedicated to actually playing the game, they're trying to control their local game store, and it's such petty stuff that if even a couple other people in the store stand up to that, invite someone in to play the demo, become the person who gets really good at losing, which is, frankly, hard to do. When you're teaching someone the first time, like it can be tricky to sacrifice a game to somebody who doesn't know how to move a model.
Yeah, and it's not like you're letting them win. You're just making sure they're having a good time and knowing the basic rules.
Mhm.
And if by doing that, it means they win based on their choices after you give them that information,
Mhm.
That's how it should be done. We used to have a guy in our Blood Bowl community who wondered, why the community was so small at the time and we were trying to grow it. And then I saw him trying to welcome somebody into the community with a game, and this guy hadn't played many games before. And he was smoking him. And I'm like, dude, where do you think you are?
Yeah, I mean, someone brought up a good point that when you're demoing a game, you're showing the capability of the game. You're not showing how well you can beat somebody. You're going, let's do a take back. Let's see how this works. Or, crap, my dice rolled really well. Let's say I missed that dice roll instead. Let's show you what would happen if this would have happened instead. And people were saying that's what we need to be doing. We need to be nurturing the community to be a better community, not kicking each other's ass just so we can win. And like I said, I'm not talking about anybody here. I mean, Kat's really mean to me 99% of the time, so I don't worry about that. But I mean, we've got to grow the community because we are a bunch of nerds. We are playing with little dolls. We're painting little dolls. We're just having to try to get a time. We got other things to worry about than someone being a douche to us while we're playing.
Dude, they're action figures.
Toy soldiers.
Toy soldiers, whatever.
Well, like something I was talking to about with Liz Beckley was that she's starting to get into historical miniatures and that community, which is like not an area that I have anything to do with or know anything about. But she was saying that like the people in it, who are mostly guys who are pretty old, are like really excited to see someone young getting into it because they're dying. Like you have to keep your community like
It's the
welcoming if you don't want it to go away when you do.
Yeah,
Right.
it's true. That is truth.
Yeah, I would rather have someone come in, rather new people come in, than an old guy come in and just noob stomp everybody. There's no point in it. One, it builds the community and brings everybody up. Two, helps my local store, because where am I going to play if I don't have my local store? I mean, being in my house can get pretty boring. No one comes in and sees new stuff. And then I run out of alcohol a lot quicker, and no bueno. So, I
Well,
mean,
we've got our priorities.
alcohol's number one.
Got it.
Going back to your miniature, the historical one, Kat. I've actually started friending some people that do historical miniatures, and holy fuck, some of those guys are insane.
It's weird how little crossover there is between the communities. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot to offer there.
I mean, there was, what was the, and I think maybe you showed it or somebody else, where it was like a scene and there was raindrops. And it was like a horses and someone had these liquid raindrops coming down and these plastic raindrops. And the raindrops were actually static in the air. I remember who showed me
Oh,
that.
crazy.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, they
somewhere.
doing this.
I had that on my page.
Was it your page?
Yeah.
That was, I mean, it was like, it was this diorama and it had raindrops coming in the air, coming down and hitting everything. And it was like, holy shit. And some of the medieval stuff, like the banners and the coat of arms and the stuff that they put on their horses, I'm just like, these guys, no way in hell. Because it's all freehand. I mean, you can tell
They-
that it's
they do
all
crazy work.
freehand.
Yeah, it's like they'll have a base that's a mud. You can like smell the mud in the grass when you look at it because it's so realistic. Then you realize they have to like read history and shit so that they can paint
Yeah.
this stuff.
So
And I'm
many
like,
of them get
the
everything
fuck?
so accurate, like
Yeah.
down to like what color the pins are supposed to be and the buttons are supposed to be. Like, wow.
Yeah,
You get a
what
little
kind of
cuckoo about
fabric
that,
would they
though.
make it?
Yeah.
Sure. The
And I'm
historical
like-
accuracy.
I'm making someone purple today because they're being purple.
Yeah, because some of them do get pretty hardcore on it. Because I go to Midwest Melee, and there's a lot of historical stuff. And then some of the guys like, that's not the real coat, and that's not the real button that goes with that soldier. Because back in 1922, blah blah blah
Oh
blah blah,
my
and they get
Oh,
really
serious?
picky on it. Oh yeah,
That shade of olive drab is not the correct shade of olive drab.
A little
I've
off.
heard this.
yes.
Mhm.
But I mean,
Now that-
that's because they're super serious about it.
And now that we're getting into the bolt action, where it's all World War II, so there are historical people who are getting into that, and then we're getting more into painting the historical like vehicles and stuff like that, and it's changing the way that we make our bases, because now we've got these little familiar looking people that aren't just space marines or elves. We know what army men look like, in uniform. We've seen the pictures of World War II and stuff and the things that are around them, and when we were basing that stuff using the same techniques for our fantasy armies or our 40K, it didn't look real. So we found ourselves having to figure out how we could make things look more realistic.
I will never forget what last time, Kathy, you and Jim and I hung out, and Jim was so
Yeah.
excited because he'd figured out how to make horse poop.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
And he was like, no, I'm not being funny. Let me show you how to make the horse poop. And he was right. Like, it looked exactly like it. And I'm like, okay.
Does he have a tutorial for that?
That
I was
had
gonna say, I
to
should
wanna
make
learn
one.
how to-
ammo stuff that he was experimenting with.
Hmm
I want to make horse poop, and need them to show me.
I know you can contact Doug Hamilton on how to make horse penises, because he's an expert on doing that now. Well, some of our local players complained about Doug Hamilton's horses because they've got sculpted penises on them, and we had local players actually shave the penis off.
Oh my
For
god.
God's sake.
God.
Oh,
Why are they so scared? It can't hurt them.
That's so
I know.
funny.
It is. It's hilarious. They were like,
They don't want to have to paint it. That's
Yeah.
why.
because
This is funny, yeah.
But they
Like,
have
because,
a penis.
yeah, right.
Like, you're shaving off. Would you want someone to shave yours off? Like, it's just
I'm making a
weird.
gelding. It's historically accurate. Leave me alone.
That's
There's
the ball,
weird
not
miniatures that has like the big monsters and demons and stuff. I remember back when I was on the Cool Meter Not forums, people would order them sometimes because they're like, I want to paint a big badass demon, but like they have really like detailed sculpted genitalia underneath that like you
Mhm.
don't see in the pictures at all, and so
Oh,
they
like
would get them and then be like,
miniature?
oh, what do I do with this? It's like paint it, like suck it up, come on.
If watching a bunch of those.
Correct wording. Suck it up.
Yeah. Suck it up.
Phrasing.
Well, I'd actually messaged Doug and I said, Doug, you've got to get this one Arena Rex model. And they've got this one character that's on a horse, and they've got a sculpted asshole on it. And I'm like, Doug, you're slacking. I took a picture, real close picture of it. It's like, you got to get on the game. I need a horse asshole on my horse models now. And he was like, thanks, Gonzo. So with that said, we're actually coming into our media section. Hopefully everybody watched the movie. No. Uh-oh, look at Kat. Kat forgot to do part of her homework.
Oops.
So I did actually watch a couple of movies, so we're going to switch over to the media section and talk about movies or TV shows that we've watched. No spoilers because Miss Liz over there has not seen Stranger Things, and I don't want her to cry right now.
Thank
I
you.
haven't either.
That's good.
All right,
See,
let's switch over. So we're going to go to the media section, and one of the things that we talk about during this is movies or TV shows that we've watched, and we rate them on a scale of A, 0 shots of Kraken means you can watch it and it's a great and wonderful movie. And you can go as far as you want on shots of Kraken for whatever you think you need to take so you can get through a movie.
There's no upper limit.
Interesting.
No, there's no upper limit.
You can go to bottles, but I don't
You
think
can
we've
go to
had that
bottles.
many that have gone to the bottle level.
So it is up to you. So is anybody want to volunteer their time first?
I finished watching season 2 of Stranger Things, and I'm proud of it.
Okay. There's our non-spoiler spoiler alert. All right. Liz, did you watch any movies this week?
Well, yes, I watched. Y'all are gonna laugh when I say it.
We're not gonna laugh.
Okay, you're gonna laugh. Liz and I watched Wild Wild West.
It's a great movie. What are you talking about?
Come on. Kevin Kline
we
and
got
Will
help.
Smith.
Yes,
I don't know.
I don't
what
know
that
why. We love it. It's
so
funny.
good. It is.
It's good. And we watched The Mummy.
Wait,
Oh.
which one?
The Brendan
Which one?
Oh,
Fraser
the Brendan
movie.
Fraser one?
Brendan Fraser one.
Oh,
Okay, so
that
that's a
one's
good one.
good.
Okay, that was a
Okay.
good one.
Yeah.
So give us a review of the Mummy Brendan Fraser version and how many shots of Kraken you need to get through it.
Just one. And that's just because I like to drink, and so yeah.
I like your honesty.
Just because you like to drink.
Yeah.
Now
And
I haven't
can't drink
seen.
too much. That's my only good one.
And see, I haven't seen the new Tom Cruise version, and I refuse to unless someone forces me to on the
I heard it's
podcast.
A
bad.
whole bottle of Kraken.
It pretty much
Not-
anything.
Is it really that
At
bad?
the $30
Oh,
level
I
of the
heard it's
Patreon,
terrible.
you too
That's
can
what-
make Gonzo watch
That's
The
what
Mummy.
you need to get me to watch it.
No.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah. And Wild Wild West, same thing. This one.
Just one for Wild Wild West, the Will Smith version?
Yeah. I just need.
Oh,
Look, okay, first of all, I only need one shot, and I'm good. Like, I'm good.
It
I'd
was
need
such
more
a
than
fun
that for a
movie,
while.
though. Will Smith in that
Yeah.
outfit.
It's so
It's
much
hot.
fun, right?
Yeah, yes, it is. Mm.
oh.
And that song is just my jam. I freaking
Right?
love that
With you,
song.
Wild
Don't even
Wild
get me.
West.
Yes.
We had to listen to the song after.
Oh.
Bonus points for anyone who can sing it.
Oh,
For a measly
yeah.
$20 on the Patreon account, Kathy will sing that on air.
No one wants to hear that.
I will totally donate $20 whenever I have.
Hold on a second, I'm loading up Patreon. Okay, so with that being said, Seth, did you watch any movies this week?
Nope.
Any
Pass.
TV shows?
No. If you would like to hear the heart-wrenching tale of 115 sophomores, I read a lot of essays this week. Yeah, hard pass.
Is that like being forced to watch like a bunch of really bad movies, but in your brain?
Okay, so here's what happens.
A reality
Over and
TV.
over.
rather than go through the movies, here's what happens: is being an English teacher, and the students were writing about the place that they most feel at home was the prompt that I'd gotten stuck with, and realizing that this was probably a mistake. Every time I looked at one, I would read the first paragraph, and here's what would go through my head. Okay, it's not interesting, but it's not dangerous. I don't have to call any police yet. Everything's fine. Yep, that's an email to the counselor. Okay.
Oh my god.
Or that was incredibly boring, but I'm through it. And then every now and then I would laugh out loud, and then I have to ask myself, was that intentionally funny or was it accidentally funny? And I don't know yet. I won't know till Monday. But on Monday I'm very excited because I might have an incredibly hysterical student who's just a super introvert. And if that's the case, come to me. You are mine. He's one of ours. And that would be wonderful. And then the majority of them are just like, yeah, that was all right. Yeah, you're a sophomore, and that's what you think, and that's great. Now let me talk to you about your grammar, because I know you care. Yeah, that's my review. 3 shots of Kraken.
3 shots of Kraken to do that.
Wait, per essay?
No, per sit.
Oh,
Per sit to read.
okay.
And that'll get you through a good
God.
15.
Yeah, you'd probably die otherwise, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a little crazy.
I've had the same bottle of Kraken for a long time. I just keep refilling it with water to see what happens. It's not getting any stronger.
Probably not.
I think we just need to sit over a bottle of Kraken.
Look, I'm working at public school. They don't pay me in Kraken money.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Who's up next, Gonzo?
Let's go with Kat. Kat, did you watch any movies or TV shows this week that you want to talk about?
It wasn't this week, but the most recent movie I saw was the new Blade Runner.
Ooh, give
And
me a review on
Was
that.
it good?
I really liked it. It felt like, of all the sequels that have come out recently, not a lot of them have felt like they really had the soul of the original, and this one definitely did. So I definitely recommend it. You don't need any shots of Kraken to get through it, but if it helps you get in that craggy old man, everything is terrible kind of mood, then you should go for it, because that's definitely part of the movie.
No, I'm.
And also, this time of year, I always like to watch the same short series because it's Halloweeny, and it's one of my favorite things ever. And it's called Over the Garden Wall.
I love that series.
I love it so much. Whenever it gets cold outside and the leaves start changing, I'm like, oh, it's time. So if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it.
All right, Angelina, what you got?
Well, as far as movies go, I only watched Ip Man. Was the only movie I watched this week. If any of you know that.
Yes.
It's a fantastic movie.
Watch
Yes,
all of them.
it
They're
is.
great.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the third one yet. I didn't
Oh
even know
my
they made a
God.
third one, but I have to.
Yeah, movies 1 to 3 are awesome, and then the 4th one, it kind of lost me.
They made a 4th one? See, I didn't even know they made that many.
Eh.
Otherwise, I've been watching Stranger Things, which I have not finished yet. And Mindhunter, which Kathy was talking about before, which I am literally on the last episode, and it's so good. It's such a great show. It's a fantastic show. As somebody who was always weirdly, being from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, somebody who's always been kind of weirdly obsessed with serial killer things, it's the greatest show ever. The greatest.
Are there a lot of serial killers in Milwaukee?
Well, Dahmer was from Milwaukee. Wisconsin's
Okay.
kind of Wisconsin's just known for having.
She's
Ed
like,
Gein.
do you not know about me?
There's
Thank you.
actually a shirt I'm gonna be getting with a picture of Wisconsin, and it has Dahmer and Ed Gein in it, and it says, "Wisconsin, we eat people here." Wisconsin's just known for having a lot of craziness, but
amazing.
Mindhunter is a great show if you have some weird obsession with serial killer things for some reason. It's fantastic.
Which apparently we do.
That's me.
I guess.
Yeah, we do. Yes.
It's okay. We're normal. But that's it for me.
Who is Lynn?
Yeah.
Did you watch anything that you want to talk about this week?
Movies? No, I just pretty much only watched that was pretty much my only goals or whatever for the week, as of recently rather. Other than that, I've been rewatching all the old Robert Stack episodes of Unsolved Mysteries on
Nice.
Amazon Prime.
Looks really good.
And I'm currently rewatching the last season, which is season 12, because the show stopped in 2001, and then Robert Stack died of cancer or whatever in 2003. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it, bruh.
Bruh. Who else? Jessica.
So I guess since it's October, we went to see the remastered version of Suspiria at our local theater, which 70s horror, like especially Italian horror, and Hammer horror movies are some of my favorite movies. So we were really excited. It was in. I've been drinking a little bit, so I was trying to think of how to say Italian. It was in Italian. Wow. But so it was in the original uncut Italian, and it was and it had subtitles on it, so that was cool because every version I've seen has been dubbed. There is a scene, if you have not seen Suspiria, where someone falls into a room full of razor wire. The first time I watched Suspiria, I had been drinking a lot, more than 5 shots. I thought she fell into a room of a giant slinky, and I didn't understand why she
Oh my god!
And I was just sitting there like, why is there a giant slinky? Is this an Italian thing? Do they have rooms with giant slinkies? But I don't need any alcohol to get through it, but if you drink a lot, you'll be like, giant slinkies, dude. What's up with this?
That's amazing.
So, did I miss anybody? Anybody? I think
Just
I've got it?
me.
Just Kathy?
Just
Oh,
me.
Kathy, you'll have to check out the patron rewards. When we're done with this,
No,
you need to
but-
check out the patron rewards. All right.
So, Kathy, just as a tip, my parting tip to you:
Wear a kilt.
every week, I mean, always wear a kilt. They are incredibly comfy. I've actually asked to wear mine at work, and apparently in the South, they're not ready for that. They're not ready for me.
No, they're not. They're not.
But Kathy, so one of the games that the guys are going to play is every week they're going to try to sign you up for something that you probably don't want to do. So stay on your toes for fear that you actually agree to something. Just letting you know.
Do you donate a kidney?
No.
Why am I scheduled for surgery on Tuesday?
I
All right.
woke up in this alley and I have a pain in my side.
Right, basically.
Are those
Be in a
stitches?
tub full of ice.
Oh my gosh.
Well, if you woke up in the alley, that's at least one part of good news.
All right, Kathy, what you got for us movie-wise, TV-wise?
So, you already heard about Mindhunter, and that's my current jam, and I'm trying to get through the last few episodes before I make my way through Stranger Things 2. So that's my goal. Plus, I still have to watch The Unnameable, which is a 1980s horror flick based on a Lovecraft story.
Oh.
And only because I painted a bust of The Unnameable, and I had no idea what it was, and I felt like I should. So it's research.
There you go.
Very cool.
And I'll tell you what I think of it in our next podcast.
Well, that said, this weekend on Friday, I hung out with Erica, and she had never seen Wonder Woman yet. And so I was like, the hell, I'll bring over Wonder Woman and put the Blu-ray on. I was meaning to paint during this, but I couldn't because I was actually watching her reaction while we were trying to eat. And it was quite interesting because everybody I've seen it with has been either guys or people that just didn't care about that character and so on and so forth. So it was interesting to see her watch the show as she sat there with her eyes transfixed and not blinking the entire time. and her being giddy and happy about it and going crazy excited about everything that happened in it. Every small bit and stuff. So, I mean, I saw it in the theaters. Thoroughly loved it. Best DC movie of all time. I hope that Justice League does it justice. But it was interesting to watch her watch it for her reactions. Because to me, one of the most important scenes in the entire thing, spoiler alert, is the part where she runs across the battlefield and gets stuck underneath her shield.
Across
To
no
me-
man's land.
Yeah. That's like my favorite scene in the whole thing because, I mean, she's willing to risk and go and do and all this stuff, and she's essentially trapped behind the shield until everybody else comes in and does it, and I'm like super excited for that scene. And watching her watch that, and then the scenes that go on after it, seeing her going, yeah, oh, yeah, good motherfucker, you know, and just her getting all excited about it, about Wonder Woman doing all this stuff, and the part where she picks up the tank, goes, she picked up a tank and hit somebody, and I'm like, damn! And it's interesting to see that from that perspective. Now, we kind of started talking about some of the nitpicky parts of it, and one of the things, and this is so stupid nitpicky, but it's just because, I mean, I'm an old comic book reader and stuff, and to me, when I see Wonder Woman, I see, you know, over 6 foot tall, thick built, you know, woman. And whenever they announced who was going to play her and they told me who she was, I was like, really? She's like, you know, 5 foot something, and I was downtrodden about the whole issue because I was like, that's not my Wonder Woman. And then when they showed it and they filmed it where she's got the different angles, where she is about as tall as everybody else, or taller, depending on where she is, Erica was like, yeah, I get this, because she was, you know, she had mentioned on that stuff too. So, I mean, I love the movie beyond belief. It's like my third time watching it. Had a great time with it. We were supposed to watch Guardians of the Galaxy 2, but some fucker decided to put Guardian Galaxy 1 within the bin where Guardian Galaxy 2 was, and so I picked up Guardian Galaxy 1 and got to take that back, so I was pissed off about that. For me, if I was going to give any shots of Kraken to Wonder Woman, it would probably be, personally, me, none, because I was happy through the whole thing. I don't know if anybody else has anything to say on it.
I haven't seen it.
I still haven't seen it.
I
Yeah.
have seen it. I loved it. Like
I
everything
enjoyed
that
it.
you said Erica did, I did, you know, the whole walk across no man's land. The moment they said no man's land, I immediately looked at Tommy. I was like, but she can go there because she's a woman. And I immediately, like, I stood up and I started just freaking out. I was so stoked about it. Like, yeah. I loved it.
Permission to be irritating about that scene?
Yeah, no, this is a discussion on it.
Alright. So I like everything about it except that she gets stuck under the shield. Because while she can go into no man's land, she needs men to get back out. And that bugged me.
I didn't notice that. You picked, that's a good eye. I never noticed that, actually.
I think a lot about story. So I'm like, I really loved the movie. I thought the movie in general was amazing. I just wish she could have gotten across by herself and then everything else followed, because then it's not no man's land anymore, it's Wonder Woman's land.
Right.
I also miss the invisible jet.
Well, maybe we'll see that later.
Justice League. We'll see it in Justice League.
Yeah, it'll probably be.
We're gonna see the invisible jet? Come on. Come on. Come on!
Good one.
The Flash will run into it and then hurt himself. That's mostly what's going to happen. So, does anybody have any other movies they want to talk about? Anybody excited about anything coming out soon?
Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Thor looks great.
Dude,
Yeah.
Star Wars, of
It's a
course.
friend from work.
I just want to see Loki and his daggers.
I
I want to see freaking Hela. She looks amazing.
know. Amazing.
I have like such a crush on Kate Blanchett. Like,
Dude, seriously, right?
oh my god, because like the Lord of the Rings movies were some of the first like Like, they were some of the first fantasy I experienced when I was a young person, and so, like, that, you know, I know a lot of people, like, have criticisms of them, they're not super accurate or whatever, but, like, seeing her, like, in that role, I was like, oh my god, she's so beautiful and also so scary, and then, like, to have her play a role like this is so cool. I'm super excited.
They made her look really menacing.
Yeah.
What are the movies besides Thor? What is?
Star Wars.
Oh,
Yes.
The new Star Wars. Yeah.
Oh, that's soon, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is in December, right?
December.
Yeah, Christmas time-ish.
I have to wonder if they're going to make fun of Luke in the movie for pulling a Yoda. I don't want to train you. You're too old. I'm a little scared of what's going to happen.
Right?
how's that go again?
Though if she jumps into a backpack right afterwards, I'm in.
Yeah.
Let's see. So besides Thor, and we got Star Wars coming up, which everybody's all goo goo gaga over the Poggets or whatever they are, and which are the little creatures that screams after Chewbacca screams.
Oh.
The
the
new
trailer.
Ewoks.
The
Yeah,
things
the new-
in
the new-
Target that I want to punch in the face.
And see, we've been
If
talking
they Jar
about
Jar
that.
Binks this, I'm going to burn it down. I don't know what it is, but it's going on fire.
I just saw those and I was like, all right, Disney needs to sell more things to kids.
Yeah.
I agree with you. So, does anybody else have anything they want to add? We didn't have many questions. Everybody was just enjoying talking and listening to y'all. So,
I had a question for you.
What? God damn it, Seth.
Actually, it's not for you at all, Gonzo. You don't get the
Okay.
answer.
Sweet.
So I heard a lot of you say that you got into games and that introduced you as your gateway to painting. This is just totally an opinion question. Do you think you can be good at painting and playing the games?
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Do you know anybody who is?
Who is good at painting and playing the game?
Angelina.
Yeah.
What?
Angelina, right here. Girl,
Yeah?
you're good at playing and painting. Don't
I'm
even.
okay at
No,
playing.
don't even.
I'm not
Don't
the
even
best. Well, thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
try. I'm actually trying to think. It's weird. I'm trying to think of like good Infinity painters that I know of, and if not, honestly, not many of them play.
Actually,
So
well,
Now, when you say are good at playing, are you like, won tournaments?
or do you mean just play?
Not
Or just
just play, because I know plenty of gamers who are good painters as well. People who play and they do play, but they may not be like good. But yeah,
Well, I
people
mean,
who
my
are-
husband and I are. I mean, we do.
Yeah, I would say
Right.
Tommy is too, because he does play
Mhm.
Infinity as well.
Derek Schubert.
Oh, Aaron.
Hmm.
I just regularly get. I know this is a conversation that pops up every now and then on the in the hobby circles of can you be really good and competitive at both?
I don't know too many people, and this is just of people that I know personally, who paint like in competition level stuff and are also
Right.
extremely competitive gamers. I know plenty of people who do like really nice tabletop quality
Mhm.
stuff and are also competitive players. But yeah, it seems like
You kinda
maybe
have to
it's just a
pick
matter
one.
of free time. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Most
It
people
seems
kind
like-
of focus on gaming, or they focus on the painting.
Right.
Well, there's that element of time that it takes to put into each one of those.
For sure.
Isn't Dallas an award-winning painter? I would assume he plays more awards.
I don't
Does he
know.
play it
Like,
well?
hyper competitive.
Oh.
Play is the right word. He
rolls dice.
He sure does, and he is fun to play against.
Yes. All right, so we have one more question. What's everybody's next convention that we're going to? You can't War Machine Weekend, Cat,
Why?
because I said so.
Yes. When's Adepticon?
Yeah, mine is Adepticon as well.
Adepticon.
I think it's Adepticon. It's my next one. I'm assuming that
So-
comes first.
Definitely
Game
Adepticon.
Volcon.
So
you wanna hang
I'll
out?
see everybody?
Do we get to say hi in person? Everything?
Of course.
Because I've already got my room booked for Adepticon.
I think we have our room.
Yeah, we
as
have.
Well.
Do we have our room? I
Hopefully.
don't know.
I don't know. I need to check on that.
Steph, you said you're already like done with your entries.
No.
Oh,
I have finished a thing I'm putting in.
okay.
I've got one entry that's done.
Lord.
I am not expecting it to be
Anything.
done. That's right. Have you been watching the show Big Mouth? I saw Big Mouth.
Yes.
recently.
Yes, I watched.
The Hormone
that.
Monster's got some things. I painted one of those.
Oh my god.
No, the piece that I finished for today's painting contest at the local game store, I'll put into Crystal Brush, but entirely because I want feedback, because I'm trying to do something I've never done before. And Chris Sori said it didn't suck, but he didn't say it was particularly good. So we'll see what happens.
All right.
Yeah, so I've got a piece, so I can say I can enter something.
I have to paint my crystal brush entries.
I may finish something for that.
I might actually do something this year.
I'm just gonna paint stuff and follow
First time.
painters around and be like, look at my things. Look at them.
Do
Look
that.
at them.
Yeah, definitely do that.
So I guess there's going to be a meetup at Adepticon, because it seems like all of us are going to Adepticon.
I think so.
Mhm.
Well,
Bert?
like Hobby Hangout always does. Like we always do a little get together.
I know,
I
you
heard
see
there's
all
a
of you
Fort
guys.
Waffle going on.
Yep.
And there's always
Fort Wapple.
That's where the real party is.
Oh
That's
yeah.
true.
Yes.
And I heard there's more for your non-painting spouses to do.
Aw.
I don't know.
Well, the first beer will be on Seth at Adepticon, since we know he's a teacher and he's rich and he works for a really good school.
Peeber, motherfuckers. Hold
Oh,
on.
and you guys got that.
Actually, you know what? It's
HBO
Chicago.
money.
It's Chicago. I'll get you some old style tall boys, and we can all enjoy pouring them down the drain.
I so thought you
my
were going to say
God.
Don Malort. Yeah.
I am not impressed with Malort. I can drink it without a problem. This is
No. Mm-mm.
my wife's an herbalist. I drink way worse than Malort anyway. And if you drank it in your paint water, you sort of have an idea of what Malort's like.
Oh God.
Uh-huh.
I
That's
just
terrible.
did that accidentally like a month ago for the
Mhm.
first time ever.
The
And
first time?
the first time.
Lucky.
Man,
Duck.
I've
I
never
still
been so
haven't.
disgusted and so upset that I did that. It was
I've
the
done it
worst
enough
thing.
times that I can tell you that
Oh,
it depends on
God.
like what
Oh. So gross.
That was
See?
Yeah.
I don't
It's always
drink my paint water. I
It
usually
was
do my
fresh at the
paintbrush.
podcast.
I
See, I
did my
usually
paintbrush
stick-
and my sweet pea.
Yes,
Sweet
that's
tea
what I
and
do.
yeah.
pea don't go together.
It's just true.
There's many times I've dipped my paintbrush in what I'm drinking, and I'm like, motherfucker.
Oh, yeah, I've done that. Yeah.
Yep. It's
All
not the same.
right. It is coming time to the end of the podcast. So, with that being said, I want to appreciate everybody that came on. Thank you so much for spending, 2.5 hours with me, technically?
Yep.
And coming on the podcast. Thank you for a great conversation. Things we need to talk about, things we want to talk about. So, we're going to do a Mickey Mouse roll call. So, Kat, start us off.
I don't know what I'm supposed to say.
I'm Kat. Good night.
Oh, that's me. I'm Kat. Good night. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Wait, not good night, John Boy.
All right, who's next?
Oh, yeah.
MIC. See you real soon.
K-E-Y. Why? Because we love you.
MICKEYMOUNC. Are we supposed to do that? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh my god. Good night, y'all.
And I'm Gonzo for More Than Dice. If you see me at War Machine Weekend, make sure you look for me Saturday in the afternoon and give me the phrase, and you will get some swag. And Seth, this is your last time.
See you, motherfuckers.
Aw.
See you at Adepticon.
Yeah.
Amen.
Woo.
This is your first time. She's like giving thumbs up and waving.
It only happens once.
All happens once. And we're out. Take care of each other, guys.
Night. Thanks for having us.
Night.
This is where we talk over the music. What's going on? Like, Seth, you gotta go pee?
My cord won't reach that far. I already drank some paint water for you people. What more do you want?
He did do that. That did happen.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
stopped.
That's why I use the P3 paints. They don't taste very much, and they're more or less food safe.
I prefer the actual cadmium laced ones.
Oh yeah.
Those have got a good scent.
They taste much better. Those
I actually-
heavy metals.
Oh, I watched a guy doing a paint video, and I'd never seen him, and it just popped